And there I think India has a long way to go. And last but not the least, the challenge India faces compared to other competing countries is India is really losing out on FTAs, or free trade agreements. Most of the free trade agreements are shaping the global trade today, and India is missing out. Mainly, India doesn't have FTA with Europe, and therefore Indian goods attract much higher import duty compared to countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Vietnam, and therefore our goods become expensive. So it's very important for India to pursue FTAs with major textile consuming countries. Now let's look at the growth drivers. This is a very important area we have to look at. What are going to be the growth drivers for the Indian textile industry? As all of you know, the incomes are increasing, and therefore the domestic consumption of textile is increasing gradually. Because of the changing lifestyle of people, the consumption is increasing. India is one of the youngest countries, and therefore consumption of textiles has great future in next few years. Increasing urbanization and the fashion awareness is also adding to purchasing of brands. Increasing spending power is leading to consumption of new categories like activewear, sportswear, women's wear and protective clothing. Increasing penetration of organized retail and opening of FDI and multi-brand retail has also helped a lot in growth of the textile industry. The low-value production segment vacated by China is now opening up, and although initially India has lost the opportunity, still India can catch up in the coming years. The increasing labor cost in the countries like China, and now slowly it's increasing in Vietnam also, is going to give a great opportunity for India to compete with these countries. One more interesting thing is that many of the corporates or the bigger players are now trying to move up the value chain. And India was earlier looked at more or less like a mere converter. Now it's trying to change its image to become a value partner to the leading brands. Implementation of GST has really been a game changer for the textile industry. It has thrown open a level playing field for the organized player, and I'm pretty sure that in the coming years, the bigger players will add a lot of capacities and take advantage of these benefits. Technical textile consumption is also growing in the country, and this is happening because there are wide applications of technical textiles in our day-to-day use and in industrial usage also. One more important growth driver has been the government policies. They are very favorable to the industry because it has a very high employment and export potential. Now all these growth drivers are going to help India to improve its position in the textile world in the coming decades. Now let's look at future trends. This is a very interesting area, very important area for India to look at it. The global fiber consumption, according to the report of a global advisory consultancy firm, shows that at least next few years, the global fiber consumption will continue to grow at about 3% CAGR, but with increasing share of synthetics. What does this mean? If India has to increase its share, it has to move slowly from cotton-based textiles to synthetic-based textiles. Another important trend. There is a higher penetration of technical textile happening in the emerging economies like India because technical textiles are finding a lot of applications in various industries. It has wide uses in automobiles, in packaging, in industry, in agriculture, in medical textiles, and therefore technical textile will play a very important role in the coming years. Functionality of the products will be most important criteria in the coming years. Why? Because the functionality of the fabric gives you the characteristics, and therefore the applications vary if you have certain functional properties. And therefore, rather than grey fabrics or normal fabrics, specially finished fabrics, specially coated fabrics will give the required characteristics, something like, antimicrobial fabrics, or with Teflon coating, fire retardant coatings. All these kinds of coatings are going to give a special functionality to the fabric, and this is really going to be a far more interesting area in the future, because there will be a larger opportunity for value addition through these kinds of coatings or these kind of functional properties applying to the fabric. Next future trend. In the global textile chain, the sustainability is getting more and more importance now. And for this, the global fashion industry is creating larger opportunities. There are going to be major 8 impact areas for the fashion value chain in the area of environment, social and ethical. As far as environment is concerned, water, energy, chemicals and waste are going to be the critical areas to look at for the industry. As far as social is concerned, labor, health and safety issues and community issues will be at the forefront. And as far as ethical is concerned, what kind of manufacturing practices industry follows, this is going to be very critical. Therefore, I think sustainability is going to be one of the future trends which industry has to acknowledge and follow. There will be a lot of change happening in the retailing. All of you must be already experiencing it today. Earlier we used to go to small shops to buy textiles. Then we started going to malls. Now many of the people even don't go to malls. They do online buying. They go to Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra or Jabong and buy. In future or even today, a lot of shopping is happening through mobile, and therefore the face of retailing is going to constantly evolve in the next few years, and the manufacturers or the retailers have to fall in line with what the buyers or the consumers are going to adopt to. And this is going to be a very challenging area also for the retailers and the manufacturers. As all of you know, Industry 4.0 is the 4th revolution of manufacturing of the industry, which is a combination of cyber and physical. Industry 4.0 is fast approaching. It has already come to Europe and Western world, and it will not be far away. Indian industry has to adopt to Industry 4.0 as far as the manufacturing is concerned, as far as the supply chain is concerned. Now interestingly, another future trend which is going to come, totally new business models are going to appear now. Our old business models will be scrapped as far as resources are concerned, design is concerned, production is concerned, retail is concerned, consumption is concerned, or even end of the life of the textile is concerned. Everywhere there is going to be a new trend now. In manufacturing, for example, let's see, 3D printing is going to emerge very fast. It's going to be reality in the next few years. Digital printing is going to replace the conventional printing. More and more mass personalization or customization will happen. This is just one area. Retail, as I already told you, e-commerce will be more important in future. New shopping experience people will look at. Even there is something called circular economy, wherein from the perspective of environment friendliness, sustainability, there will be reuse of the textiles, there will be regeneration of fibers from the used textiles, and again they will be brought back to save the environment. And therefore, industry has to look at these new business models, because old business models are not going to survive anymore. And now, very interesting area, you must have already read a lot about smart wearable textiles. According to the World Economic Forum, the fastest change or the fastest innovation which is going to come in next 25 years is going to be through smart wearable textiles. What does this mean? The clothing will have a lot of sensors, a lot of measuring instruments, and it will constantly keep a track of certain parameters. So the clothings will be smarter. For example, there will be certain clothings when you go to colder atmosphere or cold temperatures, it will give you warmth from inside, and if you go to the hot areas, it will give you a cool feeling inside. There will be a temperature difference between outer and inner part of the clothing. Similarly, as far as health science is concerned or medical usage is concerned, many of these textiles will be having sensors which will constantly monitor your health and will give feedback to the doctor. These smart wearable textiles are going to revolutionize the whole world, and your textiles will henceforth be communicating, will be interactive, and this data will be used, and this will be a big advantage to certain industries like healthcare, for example. Now let's talk of the last part of this presentation. Disruption. Disruption is the rule of the game of life today. You plan something and suddenly there is a disruption. It changes the complete scenario, and this applies to the industry as well, to businesses as well. There are certain technologies which are going to come in the coming years, or rather they are already here, but they are going to come very fast, and they are going to disrupt the businesses and particularly textile industry. Now let's go one by one and look at them. One of the disruptive technology which will influence the future of the textile industry is automation and robotics. In each and every manufacturing, automation and robotics is going to come in a big way. It's going to disrupt the present manufacturing because it will need a totally new skill set of the operators and the people who are going to work in the manufacturing. As far as textiles value chain is concerned, the automation and robotics have come much more earlier in the sector of apparel manufacturing and garment manufacturing than any other segments of the textile value chain. The automation and robotics has gone to such an extent that a US-based company called Software Automation has put up a plant in China by the name of Tianyuan Garments, wherein there are 300 sew boats or sewing robots which are taking control of the entire production of the factory, producing about 26 million t-shirts per annum. Now what disruption is going to happen because of this? Many people will lose the job because you need a very high skill set in case of automation and robotics. Quality and cost of production is also going to change, and the people with the conventional manufacturing are going to find very difficult to compete with automation and robotics based factories. Now let's go to the next disruptive technology. As you know, digital printing is coming very fast in textile. There are a lot of advantages of digital printing over a conventional printing. It gives a very high production, there's a quick response time, less wastage, and also it can meet the challenges of changing fashion. It's very environment friendly. The encroachment or the aggression of digital printing is happening all over the world now, and it's expected that in next 5 years, a larger portion of the conventional printing of textile will shift to digital printing. It's expected that at least 15% of the production world over will shift to digital printing. Now let's look at another challenging technology which is going to come and disrupt everything, probably the existence of many of the manufacturing processes in conventional textile, and that's 3D printing. Now, as you know, 3D printing has already come and made progress in the industries like automobile, in engineering. Textile also it has come. There are ready-made garments, knits, woven, non-woven or less, which are possible to be produced with 3D technology. Now, if this is the case, then all your manufacturing processes, conventional processes like weaving, knitting, will go for a toss. Although today 3D printing is not commercialized yet in textile, but it's a matter of time that 3D printing will also advance quite successfully in textile in the coming years. Now let's go to the next disruptive technology, and that is Internet of Things in the industry for manufacturing. As popularly known as IoT. I think Internet of Things has long back come in the manufacturing processes. The machines are able to communicate with each other, and therefore there will be less and less human interference. This will give a lot of opportunities for manufacturing to collect the data, analyze the data, and quickly give the results to the businesses to react fast to the market or react fast to the manufacturing. I think IoT, even in India, has started entering in the manufacturing in many of the fields, and I think textile will not be left back. There are many companies who are supplying IoT technologies for manufacturing, making the life of the business people much easier, because you get a complete analysis of the production on real-time basis and you can act very fast. Next disruptive technology, which is most threatening according to me, is the artificial intelligence. A lot is said about and read about artificial intelligence, and it has already entered world over in many of the industries. On one side, artificial intelligence is a big challenge for humankind, because this will really take away a lot of jobs. Once artificial intelligence make advancement in the textile industry, many of the low-skilled jobs will certainly be lost. But at least one or two areas where artificial intelligence will be of great help in textile industry. One will be for quality inspection or designing of the fabric, development of fabrics, innovation of fabrics, quality inspection. All these areas artificial intelligence is going to help a lot, and it will also improve the reliability and quick response. There will be less and less manual interference, and therefore the production processes also will be far more efficient with use of artificial intelligence. Next disruptive technology, which is likely to come also in textile, which has already, I think, come across the world now, is digital technology. Most of the factories of future will be digitalized, and a new role model or a new model of manufacturing will come up, which will be called as a digital factory. Now, what is digital factory? Digital factory is based on the data. Machines will communicate with each other. There will be intelligent machines which will communicate, and instead of physical production centers, the future factories will be digital production centers. Next important disruptive technology for textiles particularly, also this is important, is plasma and nanotechnology. As we have seen earlier, the functionality of fabric is going to play a very important role in changing the characteristics of the article. Plasma and nanotechnologies are fast coming in textile. Especially plasma has a great advantage. Once it's coated on the fabric, it gives you the required functionality, but in the whole process, there are going to be Lot of advantages in manufacturing. With plasma, there will be 70% less chemicals uses, 90% less water usage, 80% less energy, and virtually zero toxic discharge. The nano-treated fabrics will have very special properties, like you can apply, give them functional different properties like water repellent, UV absorption, self-cleaning kind of finish, fire retardant finish. Nanotechnology will open up tremendous amount of opportunities to change the characteristics of the entire textile, and therefore this is another disruptive technology which is going to change, revolutionize the complete concept of fabric and clothing. Now the last one. As you know, composites are very important in today day-to-day life. You go to aircraft, you see railway compartments, they are all made out of composites of different materials, metal, fabric. Now composites are going to come more and more, and they are going to be manufactured with use of textiles. For example, in Japan, there's a company which has manufactured a composite made of concrete, forged steel and textile, and these curtains are going to make the entire building quake proof. Now this is going to be a great innovation. Composites are the one where you have 2-3 different materials including textiles coming together, and they give a totally different property to the material. As I said before, in aircraft, in ships, in road construction, at different places these composites are going to come very fast, and there are a lot of advantages of composite. They have of high strength, lighter in weight, and functionally they are far different than the original parts of the composites. These are the technologies which I mentioned are today or tomorrow, in the near future, definitely going to come, and they are going to change the whole world of textiles. So it is better that all of us are mentally prepared for these technologies to come in, and also prepare ourselves, because if we don't change, if we don't work according to the changes which are going to come, I think the whole existence of our industry will be under threat. And therefore, we have to take cognizance of these disruptive technologies which are going to come. I'll end my presentation here on the future of Indian textile industry. At the end, I would like to acknowledge the certain bodies who have helped me in this. I could use their data in my presentation. It's Textile Ministry, then India's Textile and Apparel Vision 2030, a report by Wazir Advisors, UN Comtrade report, International Machinery Shipment Statistics by ITMF, and Garzi Consultants Switzerland. I'm really thankful to all of these people whose data was immensely useful to me, as well as some of the pictures which I used have been taken from these presentations. Thank you very much for patient hearing, and let's be prepared for a new tomorrow for the Indian textile industry. Thank you.